Welcome to Disclosures with Peter the Insider and Jessica Arael Morocco. The ACIO has a long history of helping humanity from the deep recesses of time. This is the first time the ACIO has become available to the public, aside from an earlier visitation by their 15th Division, the Wingmakers. Peter the Insider, originally from Slovakia, is the director of their 12th Division, and Jessica Arael Morocco is in Cicada 3301, their 6th Division. Together, they provide intel, insights on current events, a deeper perspective on aliens and UFOs, super soldier missions with Unit 374 in the Merge, and news relevant for disclosure. Don't forget to subscribe to keep updated with our latest intel and post any questions and comments below.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Disclosures. And I'm joined here with Peter the Insider. We were just having a bit of a casual talk regarding dog breeds, and of course I showed him my cup. So he has some opinions about that. So welcome, Peter. How are you today?
So I want to say hello to you, Jessica, and to all of our regular and maybe not so regular listeners. So I'm really fine, and today's show will be the great show because we will start a series, small series, let's call it that way, about Monarch Corporation.
Before we get started, though, Peter, are you going to tell them what you said about this dog?
That it is not a dog.
Okay.
It is like 40% dog, or maybe like 1/3 dog. And you are saying that they are cute. Oh my God. Why?
We just want dog lovers to make a little comment below and tell us what you think, because we were talking about the larger dogs and Dobermans and different types of larger, more aggressive dogs, and then we got into the pug
breeds,
and
Jessica, breeds. Yes, dog breeds.
and the Chihuahua, and so yeah.
I mean, okay. Let's be serious about it, okay? Like pugs have their own charm, pretty much. And if you are elderly, you know, if you are older, they don't need too much physical activity and exercise and all kind of that stuff. But you know, in general, for younger people, it's like, oh, what? It doesn't make any sense for me. But yeah. Jessica likes them, okay. Personal taste.
I like them. I think they're very cute. Yep. So yeah, we've been waiting for 2 weeks, because last week we were supposed to get into this conversation, and we ended up talking about military protocol. So we're going to get right down into it, Peter. So you go ahead and start and share with us the information. People know that we've been talking about Monarch for a while, and yes. So go ahead and go from there, Peter.
Because people were talking about Monarch, and that's it, like people. And me and my wife, we've been talking about ciphers, and I was like, okay, what the heck is going on? And once we deciphered the ciphers / decoded ciphers, and we were like, okay, stop. What is wrong here? And then we get it. All the time when something important was about to happen, they used code word / call sign butterfly, and I was like, hey, stop. What the heck is going on here? Try to guess what? Because Monarch is, you know, pretty much like breed or type of butterfly. Am I right? And then we pretty much figured it out, and we were like, oh, yeah, that's bad. This is not okay. And I want to ask you, what do you think? Why they choose a type of butterfly as a logo, pretty much? And what is more in-depth and hidden, pretty much, symbology and all kind of that stuff behind it? Because, yeah, if you want to ask me about cuteness, okay, butterflies are cute. Most butterflies are cute, but yay, monarchs are not cute. What do you think? Are monarchs cute?
I mean, I always liked butterflies because it's part of nature, and they usually have around flowers. But I saw this word, mariposa, and
Okay.
that's all. I guess that's a Spanish word for it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've seen that when I've traveled. So just as another something to think about, because well, I mean,
just
we've been, like
we
I
can
said,
go. We can go and see. We can go and see. Monarch. I mean, just please show us in shared screen monarch butterflies. And I want to ask you something.
I mean, as I said, it's a beautiful butterfly, usually around flowers. It reminds you of spring and summer, and there's also these pretty blue ones that you see. But butterflies have some form of resilience, and such beauty as well. So they stand out and they look innocent.
And
so
but
they
this
use
is
a
my
symbol.
this is my point. Just something looking innocent, it absolutely doesn't mean it is innocent. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So this is my point. And my question to you, what do you think from, let's say, spiritual point of view, because you are very, let's say, highly qualified in this case, and let's say in this field, this is your field of expertise, If we want to talk about the military stuff, okay, why in the world not? Let's talk about it. But this is absolutely not my field of expertise. I know that there is heaven / Eden, there is purgatory / purgatory, there is a hell, let's say place of damnation. There are gods, multiple gods. There are some sort of demons / low-level entities, dark entities. There is Satan, Lucifer, all kind of that stuff. But I am not expert in this field. And I want to ask you, why in the world they chose such a symbol of innocence and pure beauty? Because I really enjoy, I will say, all the butterflies. I enjoy them. And yeah, if they are flying in huge crowds, and they are huge, like not dozens, but maybe hundreds of thousands of them. It's such a, I really love it. I like. I'm enjoying it. I mean, the view and everything. But this is my question. What was their initial deal when they, aka this huge corporation, pretty much worldwide corporation, once they pretty much choose the monarch butterfly as their symbol in the first place, and in the second place, or let's say in the first place, why the butterfly in the first place, and why monarch butterfly specifically in the second place? This is because for me it lacks sense. Like something what is really evil, it's pure evil, pure destruction, and they choose such a stuff. Or maybe it should be vice versa. Do you know what I mean? Like, nah, we are just creating something. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, they really are enjoying what they are creating, aka what they are destroying. From our point of view, is pure destruction, but you know, maybe they really love and enjoy what they are doing. Who the heck knows? So this is my question to you. Because look, they are nice. They are innocent. Those butterflies, all kind of butterflies. And this is it. And just by the way, if you fell in love, butterflies in the belly. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It is this saying, you know, in multiple languages, butterflies in the belly. What the heck? I'm just asking, you know. Sorry, I'm just talking too much.
Well, if I think about a monarch butterfly, I think, well, first of all, any kind of butterfly attracts children. Children absolutely love butterflies, and the target for Monarch Corporation is, in many cases, children. So it's a lure. The other one is the name is a monarch, which is someone that rules over others. So they used a specific butterfly that reflects monarchy, those that are in charge. The third part is the butterfly effect. So this frail little, almost very, very extremely lightweight, almost like air, this insect that just moves around and floats and flutters, can create a complete change in a reality by, they say, from what is called like a group of them in a butterfly effect. So that's why I believe it, unless I'm completely wrong. You tell me.
You know what? As I heard you, I'm like, oh my god. And this is another solid evidence, another proof that you are such a big expert in this field. Symbology, like, oh my god. Because you know, as I said, I am expert in, you know, mysteriology, ufology, you know. I am expert in military, you know, and all kind of that stuff in, let's say, intergalactic relationship matter, if we want to call it that way, in between multiple races and interchange of their, let's say, wisdom and technology and all kind of that stuff. But you know, I never ever tried to think about this stuff from this point of view. I'm like, oh my god. And now I talked about it like for a few minutes, and I just let you talk, and I was like, why in the world I never talked about this from your point of view?
I don't know. We got right into the facts of what they were doing, how they were taking children. I think we got into the MyLabs. We got into the children that were rescued, from Monarch and Umbrella, which is a merge.
Well, just by the way, my wife included, just by the way.
Yeah, in which I met your wife before she was your wife. Right?
Pretty much. And this is my question. How in the world someone can do such an abomination? And, like take away children from their families, and kidnap them. And uh, once I saw this crappy stuff, I mean, they did to those children. I was like, pardon me. I am, really tough as a soldier and everything, but once I see children suffering, oh no, that's big no for me. Now,
Yeah, I agree. And there was, I don't know if this is the wrong place to bring this in or not, but there's a woman that I know, or a woman and her son that I've been friends with for a while. And they told me about how there were a bunch of graves up in Canada of indigenous children that were just buried there. No stone to identify who they were, or a cross or anything like that, and nothing to identify. They were pulled from their families. They were punished for speaking their own language. They're badly mistreated, and who was
Yes.
over them? It was a monarchy. It was a monarchy. This is in Canada. So it was Vancouver area.
Yes, you are right. You are right. I mean, give me a
Yeah.
second. This is very important matter to discuss. Definitely, you are right.
Yeah.
Just by the way, because nobody, I don't want to say nobody, but only very few people dare to talk about the fact that, and it is solid fact, that they, aka Monarch, they have a wide variety of activities ongoing in Canada, just by the way. But give me a second. Definitely not in extremely densely populated and crowded areas as they are Vancouver, Montreal, and all kind of those places. Definitely not. We are talking about far northern parts. They are pretty much like permafrosts. Do you know what I mean? Like the lands, they will never, definitely, I mean the soil, they will never get rid of the ice and everything. And for them, once pretty much, I don't want to say nobody, but only very few people dare to go there. Do you know what I mean? Like visit the place and everything. Like some pretty much explorers, and they've got huge dumps there, like deep underground military bases. Just saying.
Well, yeah, it's true, because, well, there's a lot of fires going on over there right by the reservation, and it's more north from the area where my friends live. But still, she told me that there was a highway, or there was an area where a lot of young females have been missing over the years for a long time, and nobody's able to catch who's doing this. And so, I mean, I don't know if they're all indigenous, but definitely there's a large population of them that are missing. And so,
But I will tell you why, and not only you, but our fellow listeners. I mean, I know it will be like, no, please, Peter, don't say it just like that. It's rude, but I will say it as it is, because they, aka Monarch, they are using this term. They are collecting indigenous people from all around the world. I mean, there were only, how can I say, like virgin lands and everything. Do you know what I mean? I mean, not virgin islands, but virgin lands, aka like untouched nature, and people were living literally like with complete peace of with nature, and very closely connected to the nature and everything. And they, once again, Monarch, they stole, and they still are stealing young females, once again, virgin females, because they want them to breed. Sorry for using this term, but this is literally the term they are using. Once again, they, Monarch, in their files. And if someone will wonder or is about to wonder, what does it mean? People will never breed, quotes in quotes. Believe me, they will be breeding with another ET species. I'm like, what kind of abomination? What the heck is wrong with you guys? You are sick, twist-minded. And they are paying them a lot. And I don't want to say pay money, they, ET species, but pay via technology. And they, once again, Monarch, are misusing this technology for their advance and against, let's say, normal people, some sort of standard order. Do you know what I'm trying to say? They are violencing the natural laws and everything. It's crazy. What do you think about this matter?
Well, let's talk about. So, is this indigenous people first of all that they're pulling in particular, or for everyone, anyone that's in that age area?
Give me a second. About we are talking right now about indigenous people, but not only from Canada, but from all around the world. Don't ask me why, but from my point of view, it is just my theory, okay? They've got specific DNA heritage. So many young females, for example, here from Aussie land, from land down under in Australia, I mean Aborigines females, young females, and they just went missing, like without a trace. They vanished. It's crazy.
What is the DNA that they're looking for? Is it like an early human?
Yes, exactly what we are talking about, but there is one big problem. They don't know / they don't want to acknowledge that Slavic DNA is the very first one DNA. Just by
But they also get targeted too. They do get
oh,
targeted. But
very much, yes.
So which species is particularly interested in the indigenous people?
12D
What
Pleiadians.
ET?
12D
The 12D.
But
Which
I don't
species is which species is interested in Slavic people? The same?
Yes, for our sake. Yes, that's crazy.
What are they doing with these children that through the breeding program? What are they doing with them afterwards?
It is easy. They are selling them, and I mean like literally selling them to another, because look, they are just, let's say, middle holders. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, there is an order from extremely technically and technologically highly advanced, not civilizations, but once again, ET species with extremely highly technically and technologically enhanced and advanced civilizations in within the whole species. But there is one big problem. Most, like 95% of those ET species, now we are not talking about 12D Pleiades, another species, they lost ability to reproduce themselves.
Like Grays. You talking about Grays?
Pretty much, yes. And they
is that
are.
Who they're selling it? Is that who they're selling?
Yes, give me a second. They are ordering, quotes in quotes, fertile. That means like young, ladies, let's call them females, they can get fertile, and they are ordering them in 12B Pleiades. So it is just a business. I mean, definitely not for me. From my point of view, it is really bad. We need to make a clear statement that we as ACIO are strongly against, or let's say extremely strong against such a,
Absolutely.
let's say such a problem, because, or let's say such a topic. But the whole situation is that for them it's just a business. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, maybe if I include some information, because I am 100% against it, and I actually had a memory, and years ago, before I even met you, Peter, I had a memory that I was laying down on some kind of bed or what have you, maybe if it was a lab, I don't remember it being a lab. I remember it being scarce, but large space, but in scarce furniture or anything else in there. And there was a gray in between me, and on the other side was Michael Jackson. And
Okay.
Michael Jackson and I were not really connecting, but the gray was in between us. And wow. I kept on thinking something happened. And then I was looking at Michael Jackson's daughter, and I'm like, there's something there about his daughter that doesn't, it felt like I was connected to her possibly in a way. And so then I just dismissed it. And then I got, the discoloration in my hands and everything, because he had the same thing as vitiligo, right? So now I'm like, all right, that's happening. Still, I didn't say a whole lot until a relative came back to me and they said, we are related to a few different people. And I said, well, really? Who did you say? They said, well, it didn't make any sense, but it looks like Michael Jackson. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And that was done from my lab, and I remembered it.
But I am just give me a second. But I am just saying that this is abomination, and this should stop. We are trying to desperately. We as ACIO are trying to stop it desperately for not years, for even not decades, for centuries, maybe. Pretty much not centuries, but pretty much for you know what I mean, for millennia, like thousands of years. And the problem is that it is like fight with windmills, because they are always ahead of us. It's absolutely crazy, because we know, that Intergalactic Council, what is pretty much something like United Nations on Earth, and we know that this Intergalactic Council it's extremely corrupted, and they've got huge benefits from it. I mean, from it, that means like, screw that. We will pretend that we are not seeing anything. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the groups like these Grays, which are very advanced, they can jump through all sorts of portals. They're probably, had helped the Shadow Group. I mean, their ability to move around through time space.
But look, if we will not stop, we as a mankind, humanity, we will end up as Grays. Pretty much, we will have all kind of latest modern generation, the most modern last generation technologies. We've got already extremely highly advanced AI, you know, like artificial intelligence. But if we will not, I don't want to say stop. Let's say just slow it down and make it sustainable, like sustainable development, you know, we will end up just like that. If someone likes it or not, it will happen. Sooner or later, it will happen because they were like us. They were normal. They were completely fine. They were, let's say, reasonable to talk, to speak with. And they were definitely not that small, that ugly, and their appearance, etc. It is pretty much what's left from them after, let's call it, Judgment Day case scenario, you know, like total war scenario, you know, and that's it. Why in the world we will not teach from mistakes of another races? That's my question. Is it that kind of complicated? And why in the world Monarch is doing this crazy propaganda how AI is great and everything? I mean, I'm like, okay, I'm 12 from 10 on my arms. I don't have 12 fingers on my arms. Do you know what I mean? I'm just making some sort of joke from it because this is very serious topic and I need to just make it at least a little easier, you know. Okay, but let's create AI, but let use it, not misuse it, aka use it for good purposes. Let's try to, don't know, for example, to find cure for cancer, any sort of types of cancer, for let's say intimate, you know, contagious diseases and all kind of that stuff. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Or I don't know, if you get blind, you know, or you start your sense of hearing and all kind of that stuff, replace it. Okay, let's do it. For example, do you know what I'm trying to say? But not just don't do it, like don't misuse it for wars and all kind of that stuff. I am in military for like more than 35 years, and I saw such tremendous amounts of desperation, suffering, sorrow and pain, and I don't want to see that ever again. Why? That's my question. And Monarch, pretty much those like CEO of Monarch, who is Paul Serene, just by the way, and all kind of those people, they are infected. I am calling it cancer, but not cancer like brain cancer. It is soul cancer, astral parasites, and they need to feed those astral parasites by extreme, or let's say with extreme negative energy of mass population. And I'm not kidding you. It's crazy. What do you think about it? What are your insights about this, Jessica? Because you, once again, in this field of expertise, you are expert here.
I wanted to get an understanding of, because there's a few different types of grays. There's the Zeta, which some people think are fun to talk to. I think they're dangerous. There's the tall grays. There's a whole bunch of them, but I'm just going to name a few of them. And then these cordiums.
Give me a second. Tall grays are not bad. They are misunderstood because they want to talk, but they are talking extremely fast. I mean, everything for us They are extremely fast, and from their point of view, we are extremely slow. And they want to give us all kind of good technologies, but we are always constantly misunderstanding them. I mean, them as a race in the first place, and them, aka technologies, in the second place. And the small.
Were they over in Arecibo in
Yes.
Puerto Rico? Because
Yes.
I've heard tell me that they literally would watch them fly in ships and go right into the water. Is that
Yes,
that them?
that's true. That's true. But small grays, aka they are like
Zeta.
Zetas. Yes, that is the reason of the name, or let's say origin of the name of Mexican, extremely cruel Mexican drug cartel, Zetas. They are small. I don't want to say small. Let's say short, in between 3 to 4 feet, aka 90 to 100 centimeters. They are like darker-ish tone skin, grays. In comparison with rest of the body, especially the corpse, they've got huge head and let's say heads and big pair of black eyes, as you said, almost no nose. I mean, like just two nostrils and a very small mouth, and very pitch high tone of voice, like something like that. And they are very hostile, very bad ones, very hostile. And let's say if you want to have definition of pure evil, okay, you have them. And they are pretty much making the largest, the biggest orders of anything bad what you can even imagine in 12D Pleiades. Because pretty much, I don't want to say 12D Pleiades after everything monsters I talked about 12D Pleiades being bad. They are bad, yes. But they are not doing it for their own benefits. It is like, for example, do you know what? You want to have a hitman for hire, okay, or I don't know, like drug dealer for hire, okay. And that's them. Like 12D Pleiades. But they are just taking orders. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That's it. That's their role.
Yep. Yeah. They have
but
mostly
Zetas are extremely bad, extremely hostile, and they will steal everything of any kind of last type of softness and kindness and I don't know, purity from children and all kind of that stuff. It's an innocence from children. I mean, human children. It's so bad. And they enjoy to see suffering. Any sort of suffering.
Are they AI, or some people have called Zetas AI? Like
let's say let's say they don't have individual way of thinking. They've got a huge hive mind, and this hive mind is mostly infected with AI. Mostly, let's say 70 to 80%, something like that. So it is extremely high level. Yes. Yes. And because of AKA, or let's say also called total war scenario, for example, all kind of like what is lethal for us, high voltage, so you know, Jewish, I'm calling it Jewish, I mean electricity, or I don't know, extreme high level of radiation and everything like etc., you know. But their bodies are immune for that, for all of it. they can survive anything, but that's the reason why their bodies degraded so much, and they cannot be, or let's say they cannot reproduce themselves, I mean, in a natural way.
So they are one of the groups that is involved with this breeding program.
Give me a second. This is it. What I'm talking about from the very start of the show. Exactly. This is not one of the groups. It is the major group. They are taking like 80, maybe 90% of the orders. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like for young females, especially indigenous, they are missing all over the world. Yes.
Yeah, even in like Latin America as well.
Yes. Oh, give me a second. Indigenous, and I'm talking like all over the world, and especially they are interested in mixed people. Like for example, in when it's multicultural, let's call it the melting pot in US, for example, and colonist countries. Do you know what I mean? And Western Europe, like mixed people, and it's like, oh my God, look at that. She's mixed. She's breeded. Let's steal her. This is it. For them, they are wicked-minded. And she is not a person, not live being. They are predators, and she is just a prey. I mean, I literally hate to say it that way, but I need to say the things how they are. Eh? We need to name them. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Is there anything that the ACIO, that you said they can't do anything about the Zetas because they're too fast, they get ahead of everyone?
Because they've got technologies. They've got technology. Yes, they've got technology.
A very advanced technology.
I will say it loud, okay? Definitely the highest advanced and enhanced technologies in our known, I mean, the species ACIO, no. It is crazy. And if we believe that, okay, we can trick them, bye-bye. We cannot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's a problem.
And this is it. Once I said, I got, kind of emotional, but let's Zetas be our extremely exceptional or let's say exceptionally bad example. Like, please, guys, I mean, like people, they are leading us in the world. Please, let's don't get this way. We don't want to end up as Zetas. Definitely not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I absolutely don't care about physical appearance and all kind of that crap. I just want to be connected with the nature. I don't want to destroy our beautiful planet. I don't want to destroy everything. I want to say, okay, let's reproduce ourselves in a natural way and everything. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I want to see, okay, there is place. It is a legitimate place. Okay, let's be deserts, but let's be savannas and pampas and everything, but let's be like place with the moderate climate with 4 seasons. Let's have, I don't know, like tundras and taigas, and all kind of that stuff. Why in the world not? And don't erase any sort of cultures and cultural historical contexts. Do you know what I mean? Of even small nations. Why? I don't like it. Because it is not, or it was not initial ideology of United States of America to quote unquote delete national and cultural identity of another cultures and everything. It was
Right.
ideology.
Absolutely.
It was ideology of Monarch and Mobius. If you like it or not, that's true.
They didn't want people to have identities.
Definitely. And even if you will move to US, it's like, hey, screw you. Forget about your homeland. You need to be integrated and period. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I just don't want. I don't want to say I will be just a rebel and do anything against law and everything. Do you know what I mean? But I want to live inside my small community. Do you know what I mean? Because I lived in US for a few years. I enjoy it there, but I don't like this, let's say, idea of like, okay, you need to be integrated, like fully integrated, and you need to go to McDonald's and drink Coca-Cola and everything, it's like, why in the world? I just want to make our own, food and everything, I'm just saying, and once again, this is not this is not U.S. initial idea. This is a sick, twist-minded idea. It's absolute crazy. It's nonsense.
So the whole idea of the United States, you're saying, was a Monarch Mobius idea.
Definitely. I mean, give me a second. Once, because there were times in U.S., as it is this saying in English, back in the day, I mean, like, once people get nostalgic and try to talk about all good times and everything. Back in the day, there were, for example, no taxes in US and everything. But they were like, okay, let's make this experiment. Let's do another one. I mean, another experiment. And they made this coalition. My bad. Monarch, Mobius, and of course, Murkoff.
Yeah, all of them, which are kind of the America and Canada borders.
Yes, and just by the way, Murkoff made he lobbied. He made this huge lobby because Alaska initially, once again, as I will say this phrase, back in the day, was not sold to United States of America. It was only rented for 150 years. So pretty much since 2017, US is holding it as its own territory illegal. But Murkoff, being half Russian, like his father is Russian, it is like, okay, guys, I have this AKA, let's say, also called safe haven, like safe land in US. I can do this. I mean, like crazy experiments, and in advance, my good, like paying, let's call it that way, I will go to, or let's say, I don't want to say I will, but people of mine, they will go to Moscow and they will say all kind of crazy crap, aka, okay, but it wasn't like the whole situation went very different. It was Russian Empire, then it was Soviet Union, now it is Russian Federation, and it is much better infrastructure and all kind of that stuff. But it absolutely doesn't matter, because the contract no matter for that, was 150 years. But I'm just saying that the initial deal is that he literally went to with this, let's say, deal to US government. My bad, the Murkoff, Sasha, aka Alexander Murkoff, and that is how it is. So pretty much because of him, Russia doesn't have Alaska back. And it is what? Like 7 years. It's crazy. But
Well, they're
sorry, go
Murkoff,
ahead.
Monarch, and Mobius are running everything.
Yeah.
They're influencing everything right now. So we didn't finish talking about the Grays. Did you want to finish something first, or before? Because I didn't. I wanted to ask you about the cordium, because the cordium's associated with the ACIO.
Cordiums are very good guys, and they are pretty much the only type of Grays they are helping us in this huge, pretty much non-stop fight. Never-ending story, oh my god.
They appeared to me for the first time is when you had died, and I was trying to find what we should do. I was trying to get advice, and I could see one of them very clearly. He told me his name, or that he was a part of the cordium.
Please don't say the name out. don't say the name loud.
No, I mean like that he was a cordium. If he gave me a name, but I forget the name, so it doesn't matter. And then he told me what they were doing. So like he was involved in helping you to return. And that was the first and only time that I had communicated with them.
Okay.
But they were very interesting to look at. Very, very interesting to look at. I've never seen anything like that before.
That's interesting.
But helpful. Very, very intelligent and sensible and helpful. So I know that there's a lot of lore about the cordium, and you know that they're bad, or they were involved with this and that and the other thing, and maybe I could we could get into that another time about their involvement with some of the agreements and things that happened in this nation. But like what you're bringing up, everyone blames like, oh yeah, it was this group of Grays that went to Eisenhower, but it's much more complex than that. There's also the Monarch, Mobius, Murkoff being involved, as well as now you're talking about the Zetas, tall Grays, and the cordium, and the ACIO, and the 12D Pleiadians. So there's a lot
that's true.
Involved decisions of what happened. Yeah. So it wasn't as simple as people think. And I think humans were at a disadvantage of what decision to make. So I don't know if it was really fair for anyone to blame anyone. If you were in a leadership at that point, what are you going to do? And you get approached by these very high intelligent groups that are able to time travel around you very rapidly. Right?
And trick you, just by the way.
Trick you, or you just literally up against a wall. You know it's something bad, but you don't have any way to fight it. I mean, you have no equipment, you have no weapons or anything that could even put a dent in what they're doing. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
The other question I have for you was, what type of technology is Monarch using on humanity? I mean, we know about scalar and everything, because that's also up in Alaska, because you were mentioning Alaska earlier.
They are using HAARP. Yeah, HAARP. HAARP.
So that's the HAARP there. But for the trade-off of these children and the 12D Pleiadians making their agreements, and you said then Monarch was also, because they were assisting these exchanges and sales of children.
Yeah.
What kind of technology are they getting? And you said that they were harming humanity with the technology that they're getting from the Grays.
I will tell it, or let's say it loudly. 5G. I mean, give me a second. Definitely looked like, oh my God, fifth dimension, not 5D, 5G as a next generation of, let's say, on-air internet connection. We need to make very clear statement about this. Publicly available 5G or 5G is completely fake. They are using upper frequencies of 4G because the 4G was extremely overloaded frequency wise, okay? But 5G, what is using for military and over horizontal radar purposes, this is the technology they are not using, but we need to say misusing against humanity. If we like it or not, that's true.
Plus, they did talk about 6G.
Oh yes, they are already talking about it. Like, okay, we will do this and that. Like, it's so stupid, childish, and ridiculous. Like, publicly, give me a second, for public once again. 5G, it's not 5G. It's, let's say, 4G plus. Let's say 4.5, pretty much, something like that. And now they are talking about 6G already. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. And most, let's say, except, let's call it, or let's call those people inner circle of technicians in the field, or let's say in the, the nearest circle of it, people they are expert in this field of expertise. Except those people, nobody knows it. And now they are talking even the coverage of, give me a second, full speed, also called 5G, let's call it 4.5. It's ridiculously slow because it always, like, it is not like 4, 5, 4, 5. It is going like from 5 to 3G. It's ridiculous. And now they are talking about 6G. It's stupid. It's childish. Yes, and you are just like, nah, you are just like, oh my God, why in the world you are talking about this, Peter? And this is it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Why?
There are actually people talking about different grids that they've been putting up and how they're targeting and they're hacking into people. There's a lot of different types of technology that I've been listening to people talk about that they're putting out there, whether it's military grade or whatever they're saying is military.
And give me a second, that's the problem. I just want to live in 50s or 60s. Nah, just only tube radios and that will be it. Or okay, transistor radios and bye-bye. Maybe maybe not so many people are fan of tabletop radios because, tube radio cannot be portable one, but transistor radio and bye-bye, okay, I mean it for real. This is not for fun. They just try to think about the time. Even before both of us, we've been born. People were much happier. And just by the way, times being relatively shortly after Second World War, people really can appreciate and worth one thing, and this thing is called peace. Now, I know many people will hate me for this, But there are local conflicts. Yes, there are local conflicts, for example, in Latin America in between drug cartels. There is local conflict on the Russian-Ukrainian border, you know, local conflicts, many local conflicts in Middle East, pretty much the whole Africa and all kind of that stuff. But there is not, or was not, worldwide also called total war for almost 8 decades, and that's the stuff. Because without this, let's call it great reset, people are not able to appreciate, to value true, let's say, true stuff, and it's peace, it's life. No, I mean it for real. I'm not kidding you. Because me, being a soldier in special units, once again, I'm repeating this for like second or third time already during this show. I saw so many unnecessary suffering, pain, and sorrow for pretty much like 90-95% for stupidest reasons in the world. And this is it. After the whole conflict is over, I mean, in the local, do you know what I mean, matter, people are happy. People just once they realize how stupid it was, they just throw the weapons and everything. They dig the weapons to the ground, like at least 6 or 10 feet below, you know. And they start to celebrate in their own way. I mean, their own way, aka the local customs, you know. And this is what I love, what I enjoy to, how can I say, to observe. But people, like globally, they forgot about it. I
don't know if they've fully forgot about it, because a lot of people are in pain right now, and even though there's not war, there's other things that are happening. There's illnesses, there's tensions, there's the political stuff, the media stuff is really bad. Like, it's a different kind of war, Peter. In some ways, we're in a psychological war, even though when that's
I
gone,
will say you are 100% right. There is no room discussion from this point of view. You nailed it perfectly. No room for discussion. I just want to finish my thought, what I just, by the way, I just did. And I just want to let you talk for just a moment, because your insights in today's show, they are great. So just, feel free to talk.
Well, thank you, Peter. I think it's always like a series of discussions, because all of these points that we're talking about, typically we've been in this like loop of experiences, and you see throughout history, you know, there's levels of peace, there is civilizations, there is villages, there is group of races, or what have you, and then there's a disruption. There's either a natural disaster, there's invading tribes, or there's you know, some kind of famine, or something to challenge people. There is it's like the earth is a testing ground, and we have to be honest about that. There's, if it isn't one thing, it's something else. But there have been longer periods of peacefulness and interaction, and I do find that people.
Please, can I I know it is very impolite to interrupt you, but there is, let's say, because we made last show military protocol. So you said a world or Earth is a testing ground. If you want to use correct military term, okay, let's do it. It is world, the whole world, aka the globe, the planet, is the testing polygon. Sorry, I know I don't do it is impolite to interrupt you, but I can't get away from it. Sorry for that.
So when you use the word polygon, we'll elaborate on that.
Polygon is pretty much it is military term, specific military term in military protocol, and it is a huge wasteland of at least hundreds, maybe dozens of square kilometers / square miles, when extremely powerful weapons are tested, or pretty much were tested. Once polygon is no longer in use, it is, let's say, it is not more active. In most cases, we are talking about polygons in a matter of testing atomic weapons, sometimes chemical, biological, and biochemical weapons. Let's call it that way. This is the matter, let's say, or this is the case where we should use this term, the polygon. Okay, like test. Polygon is pretty much synonym for test site. But if we want to be more precise, and especially not only precise but more proper, we need to use this term, polygon. And for me, Earth is not test ground or test site. For me, it is literally a polygon, aka it is a, like, let's say, on Earth is constant war. Even local wars, but it is all the time, 24/7, non-stop, there are wars, okay? Mm-hmm. And this is it, polygon. If somebody likes it or not, it is true. Give me a second.
This cycle's been going on for a very long time.
Yes.
Very long.
Give me a second. And not for polygon for us, aka for humanity, but polygon for another. We in ACIO have specific term for ETs, for outer Earth species, aka ET species. That's it. That's it.
In those that have visited the planet, who have
visited and messed around, and I mean like mess in a very, very bad way.
Yeah, definitely. But we also have the Earth being impacted by by space, and also the imbalances that we have on the Earth and how it's rotating and how the other planets are moving, and there's all this synchronicity that also impacts weather patterns, natural weather patterns, as opposed to ones created by scalar, right?
That's true.
So I guess we're learning, right? We're learning a lot.
That's true. Yeah.
But we're not resolving what the problems are. Do you perceive that we'll be able to resolve these problems, since the Grays are supporting the 12D Pleiadians, the Grays are supporting Monarch, Mobius, Murkoff, and other corporations that we haven't named, like Swan or Delphi, or some of these others, right? So Delphi, you said, has turned to the good, right? And
but initially they were very bad,
Mm-hmm.
But they turned to be very good. Yeah.
And what about Swan? Do we have? I mean, you said that Swan was connected to Siberia, but
what is true? Give me a second. What is true? Yes. It is not was. It is still connected to Siberia.
Yeah, and that was some of the problems.
Give me a second. I
was-
want to ask you: is it is a problem or it is not?
I'm sure there's some residual effects of it. So, yeah, I was looking at some different things yesterday, but yeah, anyhow, crazy. And so then, is Murkoff connected to Swan over in Siberia, in that area?
Pretty much. Murkoff tried to fool Swan in order to exchange them their masterpiece, what also we know it is Walrider, but they were smart enough soon after they started interchange program, and they were like, oh my god, this is not good, and try to guess what happened. The Walrider as a hive mind went totally out of control. This huge fusion-based reactor, pineapple-shaped reactor, what is pretty much, or let's say, I don't want to say what is, but they are Monarch in their huge dumps, DUMBs, aka deep underground military bases. They've got 8 in total of them, those reactors, and those reactors almost exploded because they are, let's say, they are relatively stable. But this is it. I use this term, this word, relatively stable. And this is it. Once someone want to get more in-depth, I don't want to say more, extremely in-depth, why Chernobyl disaster happened, he needs, or she needs, I mean our listeners, to open YouTube, and there is separated channel, Chernobyl guy, and this gentleman very deeply say, or let's say explained, why RBMK type reactors were cheap to build, very easy to let's say refurbish / interchange the fuel rods. There were no need to stop the operations during the changing the nuclear, aka that means uranium fuel. But you need to be very smart in order to keep it, or let's say maintain it in stable, let's say working order.
Yeah,
and once
it has
you
to be a
don't,
certain temperature, pressure, and all
yes,
that.
but give me a second. And if you don't know how to do it, as you said, temperatures, water pressures, and pretty much there, I don't want to say constant, but after a few minutes, you need to pretty much like make, like quotes in quotes, circus maneuvers with the regulation rods and everything. It was complicated. It was like, why in the world is Insider talking about RBMK reactor? It is because the design of those huge 8 reactors in Monarch DUMBs are completely different, and they are not standard, nor I mean like normal radiation systems, but fusion systems, you know. But they need to be very precisely operated. Exactly, you need to know very good what you are doing, you know. Otherwise, you will get in big trouble. And this is not only about it, because in addition to this, aka if you don't have incompetent personnel or with proper training, or personnel they pretty much lose control for, I don't know, just 1-2 minutes, and so on, etc., etc. There is one huge layer above it, and this layer, aka this impact, is the whole hive mind of Walrider itself. Because those huge fusion reactors, once again, 8 of them in total, they are providing energy source for the Walrider hive mind. And once Walrider hive mind, what is pretty much like, okay, this is like if you have good mood, bad mood, if you have, I don't know, like headache or stomach ache, or I don't know what food, it is affecting your mood, if you like it or not. And if you go under stress situation, if you have a higher level of adrenaline and all kind of that stuff, bad news bears for your mood. But once we are talking about hive mind, this is the whole different case, because the effects, of course we are talking about side, aka negative effects, will be much bigger. And as we know, just by the way, we didn't know that, there were 4 huge accidents in a much bigger scale than Chernobyl during
Underground?
No. I mean, give me a second. Underground. But the operators, because they don't want to get their spaces, underground spaces, get contaminated, and they deliberately went huge amount of radiation on air. I was in shock. And US, in a government, in cooperation with, very close cooperation, just by the way, with Canadian governments and authorities like, for example, FEMA in United States, they covered up everything. There were no warnings about it.
And where was this that it took place? In the Great Lakes area?
Yes, in this area, it is northeast area of US in, or let's say near Canadian border, near Great Lakes. And we are talking like about years after Second World War. It is absolutely crazy. First accident happened 1968. Second accident happened 1977. Third accident happened 10 years after, aka 1987. And last accident happened 1999. It is crazy. And nobody talked about it.
I was gonna look at the shadow group in the dates when they did certain things. There's that, and there's also that type of Walrider guy, the guy that died, and he's trapped in this sort of in between space, kind of like Walrider in the show Lost, right? You said 1968. There's 1969.
Yes.
1977. There's 1972. 1987.
Yes, correct.
There's yeah, 1982, 1999, we have 1996. So yeah, it's a little bit close to some of the dates that were from. Do you feel that that's consistent with what the Shepard group
Yes,
did? Or
it's definitely they've got also called fingers in it, you know.
yeah, and so also in Lost, right? We'll go over to. They have this character. I'm trying to remember what his name is. He's like a smoke being, right? Sort of like Wall Rider, the smoke
Definitely.
monster. But yeah, it's the same type of thing. But what I found was interesting is if we look at the IMDb page,
Okay.
that's the actors in the show, the TV show of Lost. Okay, the main character, the doctor, Matthew Fox, his name is Jack Shepard.
Oh man.
So this brings in Shepard, because there's a lot of I don't know if they're fusion or not, but there's a lot of nuclear plants over in, if you try traveling through France, so you can see them, they're huge.
That's true.
And they use a lot of nuclear power in that country, a lot more than others. Is that correct?
Correct.
Maybe
like
that's
85-90% of Jewish, I'm calling, like, do you know what I'm trying to say? For my slang, electricity, that's from nuke and power plants. That's true. Correct.
So you have Shepard, who was the astronaut, who then who was over the space program in France, right?
Correct.
Shepard, who was in Call of Duty.
Correct.
Same one.
Another part. Correct. Yeah.
Now we have Shepard from Lost.
Do you know what? This
Swan.
is not even close to be funny, man.
And I had, I don't have it set up here because I wasn't planning on talking about it, but there was another one where I was talking to Navy John, and there was a man, his name was not Swan, but he looked like this guy from Lost. And Navy John was actually working with him in the 1800s.
Yeah, that's correct.
So the Shepard from the past, Shepard here, and then I also thought, and if people might say this is a stretch, or maybe not, maybe they'll see it, that there's a similar appearance to Max Spiers.
Yep.
And I didn't know if there was a connection. So is Max Spiers connected, or somehow, yeah, connected to Shepard, who was the astronaut? And
some sort of, but I don't know, you know, it's crazy.
Like a surrogate?
It kind of looks like that.
That guy right there. So then there's also Stargate Atlantis, and there's a guy named Shepard there as well. Same one?
Yep, correct. I don't want to say the same. Let's say
like another version of him.
Aspect of them, yeah, aspect of them.
And that's why people, I think, to this day are kind of still talk about Max Spiers. They don't understand, I think, the impact that he had. It's true, you know, he had a major impact on super soldiers, but also if he's connected to these others, he's had a much larger position in what has been going on in the SSP, not just as an asset, right? But
That's
someone
correct.
that was.
Correct.
And I bring this up because in France, where he was in control, right? So the Shepard that we know from Call of Duty, he was in control over a secret space program, which is very strong over in France, right? And
That's
so
true. I mean, extremely strong. That's correct.
And is he still there? Is he still operating from France?
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Does the ACIO work with him, or is that they working?
Yeah, we
with
are actively cooperating with him. That's true.
Okay. So yeah, just to I thought that other piece to it, and so, but they use a lot of nuclear plants. Is there something connected to that, or the reason why?
You know, it's like it's cheap energy for them, and they've got very good security protocols. Huh? You know? I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
so far they seem to handle it to be more efficient than other nations.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they've had their share of problems for sure, but
Oh, yeah,
at least people
that's
are
true.
sensible. They've had protesters and like pre-revolutionary kind of actions, but I think the people are smart enough not to tamper with anything like that. We haven't seen any evidence of it, whereas I think other nations are a little bit more lax. They don't really pay close attention to it, and we've had to have someone look into one of them locally here because of another time traveler that said something on a show, and it was around Massachusetts, and I made sure that a person went and looked into it down in Plymouth.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, and that's interesting enough. That's Plymouth Plantation. Plymouth is where the Mayflower landed, which is the early foundation of what we understand as the United States, right?
Yeah, correct.
So the United States and other nations don't focus enough of security or caring, updating, and protecting regarding some of the nuclear plants. So that's a bigger problem. I'd rather, if you're going to have those that are highly
because
focused
even the crazy accidents in Sellafield, what is not nuclear power plant at all. Sellafield is just, by the way, located in United Kingdom. It is, let's say, huge complex specifically built in early 1950s for creation pure plutonium from uranium. And they've got many accidents there. And they cover all of them up. It was crazy. Nobody wants to talk about it. Why? Because it is a highly a classified facility. That is why. I'm just saying, you know.
Well, when Fukushima happened, they did talk about it publicly.
Yeah, but give me a second, because it is publicly available stuff. But Sellafield was top, but was highly classified, was pretty much top secret level. I've got 60 plus, and I will tell you something. You will be like, Peter, no, you are kidding me. Sellafield has level 120. Yeah, double than the basic, pretty much level, what can be classified as top secret. It is crazy. Even for me, I mean, for me, I've got 180. Okay, I'm saying it publicly. I've got level 180. But even for me, I was like, what the heck is wrong with you guys? This is 120. I've got 180. What the heck is wrong? all the body scans. It was so humiliating. For me, I was naked. And they made X-ray scan and all kind of like all the body holes. Sorry for saying that loud. It was crazy. They are paranoid in the whole facility and everything. It is crazy. Like,
How do you go there very often to any of these
no,
high
no,
security
no, definitely. I don't like it there. No. There is no like high level of radiation or something, but the environment like between a personal, it's crazy. They hate each other so much. Oh my God. Yes.
Are they competitive? Are they competitive for their
Yes,
position?
definitely, definitely.
Okay. Wow.
So from my point of view, this is today for our show, because this will be series of show, at least 4, maybe 5, who the heck knows. So I want to say big thank you, Jessica, for giving me another opportunity to be on your channel. I want to say thank you very much to our regular and maybe not so regular listeners that they stick with us till the end of the show, for their patience. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay fine, and till next time, hold tight and bye-bye.
Thank you, Peter, for joining us today, and thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate you. And leave any comments below, any questions. We'll try to get to it. I'll try to cover what I can as we're going to continue doing this series on Monarch and disclosing some of the information that has been going on the inside. And this is very important. You're not going to get this information from anywhere else. So hang in there, and until next week, have a good day. So here's the breakdown of what I was trying to explain to Peter. I was speaking with Navy John, who's a part of Unit 374. And I heard the name Hotchkiss, which is kind of a weird name. Or how about if I say it's not a common name? And I said I could hear that he was connected to something related to like the 1800s. And I saw the Civil War. So I did a search, looked up this name Hotchkiss. And sure enough, he was a topographer in the American Civil War and a cartographer. So he's creating maps, which I thought was very interesting, right? And his name is Jedediah. So we started looking at him. And then all of a sudden I looked at his face and I'm saying, hey, he looks familiar. What do I know that face from? And then I thought about it and I was like, oh, okay. So now John, keep in mind, Navy John is connected to Alan Shepard. And we're going to go down the line. For those of you who don't know who Alan Shepard is, he was an astronaut. He was an astronaut, American astronaut in 1961. He became the second person, the first American to travel into space. And in 1971, he became the 5th and oldest person to walk on the moon. Okay, so we're not going to get into that whole thing of whether or not, someone's been on the moon or whatever, because what they showed and the time that they showed it is unlikely. They did go to the moon, but they showed the wrong one. They showed like a fabricated version of it on television, and that's a whole nother discussion. But we're tracking this individual because it looked like Navy John has been working with Alan Shepard for quite a while, and that's where he found the shadow group. The shadow group was also around Alan Shepard, and Alan Shepard was based over in France. So here I see this Jedediah Hotchkiss, and I see that he looks like someone that I recognize, and he looks like this guy right here, Jack Shepard. To me, he looks that way. Some of you might disagree, but there's definitely a likeness to him. And who is Jack Shepard? Well, Jack Shepard is a character in this movie or TV series called Lost. We've talked extensively about Lost because within Lost, we'll go to Lost, is a lot of activity that was involved in this program called Swan. Swan is a MyLab, or is a corporation that has come in and out of our reality, and exactly like in the movie, you see a bleed through reality of Swan, showing of this program. There's time travel, there's time manipulation, and also that they lock these people in a survivors camp. So now they're being experimented on, and then of course there is scientists involved. In addition to that, there's also something that's very similar to Walrider, like in the Murkoff, the whole Murkoff situation, that MyLab as well. So there's a parallel to Murkoff here, and then also that, you know, this is Swan. So getting back to, we'll say it again, this Jedediah, I heard the name Hotchkiss. We did a research, and then we see the American Civil War. Either that or I heard Jedediah. I'm trying to remember which is the name, but it turns out that he did actually have a teacher with that name, which is like not a common name, but getting back to it. So he looked like Jack Shepard from Lost. Lost is a MyLab, and now I'm following the thread, and then I thought, all right, so let's look at this. His name is Matthew Fox as an actor. At least that's the name that he goes by. So here is Lost, there's Swan, and then tied to Alan Shepard, who I knew for sure that John, Navy John, was working with. So that brings Navy John back in time, working for him during the time when he was a cartographer and a topographer in the 1800s. So he has been working with this leadership, who Alan Shepard is the leadership over the team in France, based in France. Even though he was from the United States, and they showed that he lived in Derry, New Hampshire. This is where he was born, but they have him there in a space program over there. Alan Shepard is also connected to Call of Duty. Call of Duty is one of his characters, and Peter has talked about Makarov that we've dealt with. Peter is Ghost, and I'm also in here as well. When I was Jason Hudson in Call of Duty, that was one of my, I'm going to say, avatars or expressions of who I am. And then, of course, his Peter was Ghost. There's Makarov, who we've had problems with. So just mentioned, so there's Shepard here. There is also Shepard, another aspect of him was in Atlantis and Stargate, in the Stargate project. And the last one, which I think might surprise people, but maybe they'll see the connection, and this is something that I had verified with Peter, is the last one is Max Spiers, is also connected to Shepard in some way. Whether he is exactly Shepard, an aspect of Shepard, another expression here to reveal information. So now I always wondered, he seemed like not the typical super soldier. That's maybe because he is actually one of them that's over the programs and here to inform of what exactly is going on. So maybe, I don't know, I don't want to get into it because I know that this is a touchy subject. People might get upset, especially people that have been, introducing his information. So I just want to leave it there. But people can talk about it. I believe that, he would have that kind of information, bring it forward. Also, when they pass, they don't necessarily pass, But maybe also, I feel like Max Spiers taught us a really powerful lesson in that the whole thing of being a super soldier, working, having any kind of substances is very dangerous because you have to be alert and aware of everything that's going on around you. And one of the reasons why I'm hardcore against people having any kind of substances regarding this environment, something that we need to learn and we need to be realistic about and be responsible for, especially those that are supposed to be in leadership or are looking the other way when these type of activities are going on. And I'm seeing that is very prevalent right now. But yeah, that's another topic, but that's my explanation.
You have been watching Disclosures. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Visit www.acio-official.org and www.readingsbyarael.com to book a private session with Jessica. Feel free to support our work. All links can be found in the description. Thank you, and until next time.